Keypad with microbit. Microbit comes with two buttons, as we already know, button A and button B. If we need more buttons in a project, such as a project that needs the 16-button keypad, how can we connect it to microbit? The keypad is nothing more than buttons that arrange in a matrix fashion or a table with rows and columns, as the picture shows. There are 4 rows and 4 columns to form 16 buttons. Pressing a button will connect a row and a column coordinate with the button. For example, pressing button 1 will connect to row 1 and column 1. And pressing button 6 would connect to row 2 and column 3. Forming the buttons in this shape will reduce the number of connectors and pins. As you notice, there are 16 buttons, but there's only 8 connectors. Before we are going to the code, we have to connect the keypad to microbit. First, let's look at the microbit edge connector picture to show right here. So, it's important to know what the pin's functions are because they help you design which pin you can use in the project. As you can see, several of them are going to share with an onboard LED. I'm not going to use it because we'll use those pins in this case because I'm going to show you which keys pressing is on it. So we won't be doing all the LEDs. We can use P16, 15, 14, and 13 because 15, 14, and 13, sure they have jobs, but we're not going to be using them, so they are available. So those will be for our rows. For our columns, we can choose P2. We can choose P11 because sure it has button B, but we're not using button B. If you're gonna be using button B, don't use P11. That also means P5 can be used and P8 because P8 has no absolute job, so we can use that. P5 is button A, the same story as button B for P11, and that would be for our columns. The microbit pin will be connected to the keypad in this way. So in my case, P16 will connect with row 1, P15 will connect with row 2, P14 will connect with row 3, P13 will connect with row 4, P2 will connect with C1, P11 will connect with C2, P8 will connect with C3, and P5 will connect with C4. So here I'm going to tell you a little bit about the code. So column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 4 will all start with 0. And then column 1 will start first. It's going to bring 0 to 1. And then it's going to read row 1, row 2, row 3, and row 4 to see if it has a 1. Let's say that row 1 has the matching. That means the number 1 on the keypad is pressed. If, let's say, row 3 has it, then that means 7 will be pressed. If there isn't any in the column and rows, then it's going to move on, but it's going to bring 1 to 0, then it's going to move on to column 2. It's going to bring to 1, then it's going to read row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, If let's say that row 2 has it, it would be 5 because it's 5 is in the column and row that's matching. If row 4 has it, that means 0 is pressed. And again, if they don't have any, that's going to bring back to 0. Then it's going to move on to row 3. It's going to bring to 1. It's going to read. If there isn't any, it's going to go back to 0. Then it's going to go to C4. It's going to bring to 1. It's going to see if there's any activate. If it's going to read row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. If there isn't any, that means 0, and that means none of the buttons are activated. Time to do the code on microbit. So to do the code, go to pins, grab a digital read pin circle, digital write pin P0 to 0 block, and go to more, drag a set pull pin P0 to up. So we're going to set this down because we're expecting this to be 0. And in my case, I'm going to be choosing P16, P15, P14, and P13 because those will get the input from P2, P11, P8, and P5 in my case. So there we go. Over here on the digital write pin, we're going to set this to, in my case, P2, P11, P8, and P5. Find P2. And we're going to keep it at 0. Snap these two and connect them into on start. Duplicate all of them 4 times. Alright. Connect all of them together. And then change them to whatever yours is. For mine it's going to be P2, P11, P8, and finally P5 for the digital write pins. And for the pull pins, 16, in my case 15, 14, and finally 13. Snap them together, drag them into the on start. There you go. What you do with this is go to basic, grab a show string. I'll show you in a minute why we need all these blocks. A while or an if. Go to the comparison part of the logic. Drag the first one. Don't drag the third one. That one's for strings. Snap this right in the hexagon. Put the digital read pin on the left side. Snap the show string right down here. And make it so that way on the right side of the hexagon, a 1. Or 2, a 1. Then duplicate a digital write pin over here. Snap it on. Keep the number. In this case, I duplicated P2. Keep it. Go to the circle part. Change it to P16, 15, 14, or 13. So what this does is that it's going to check if P16, P15, P14, or P13 is equal to 1. And duplicate this while. Change it down to whatever your rows are. Okay, then after this, don't forget to change this block over here to 1. drag the copy of this right down here and change the value back to 0. And we just duplicate the next digital write pin and copy all of this. And change the things in the string to be, in my case, 1, 2, 3, A. No, hold on. No, it's 1, 4, 7, and the asterisk, which is the multiplication sign. And then for this next one, for mine it's going to be 2, 5, 8, and 0. And then after you've done it, go to the pause millisecond. Oh, change 1. Zero. Okay. Then go to basic. Once you're done, go grab pause milliseconds, and we're going to do it for 20 milliseconds. We're going to pause 20 milliseconds to debounce. So I know that you don't want to watch me duplicate all of this and do this over and over, but I have one already made. I'm gonna switch this out, trash it, replace it with this. And then once you're done, you're going to end up with the code that will look like this. Over here's the first column. Down here's the second column. Over here's the third column. And over here's the fourth column. So next I'm going to show you how to do the wiring and to test the keypad out. For the wiring part, we're going to need microbit's extension board with a breadboard, microbit. For long wires, this will be for the rows, and for short, these will be for columns. Now you don't actually need 4 long and 4 short. I'm just showing you this. And finally, the keypad. We're going to connect it onto, and for P5, will be connected to C4. This is the last one that we need to connect. P5. And now we're going to test it out. Put the microbit right into the extension board. So now we're going to connect it to the USB cord. 1, 2, 3, A, 4, 5, 6, B, 7, 8, 9, C, star, 0, hashtag D. That's it for today, guys. Bye. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so that way you can see more videos like this.